With the help of my trusted co-pilot, I have made it through safely. And this was way less action-packed than I expected. And that's because Star Wars has lied to you, just a little. The asteroid belt isn't as densely packed as movies make it out to be. On average, the distance from one asteroid to another is of about 500,000 miles. So you definitely have more chances of going through safely than ever hitting an asteroid. And that also means that we've made it through to Jupiter. And it is huge. It's the king of the planets in terms of size. It's so big that you could fit all of the other major planets of our solar system, plus Pluto inside it, with room to spare. And it is the first gas giant on our itinerary. And we know it as a gas giant because, well, it's mostly made up of gases, mainly hydrogen and helium. There are distinct bands in its atmosphere. The lighter areas are known as zones, and the darker areas as belts. And they rotate in opposite directions, so storms form wherever they meet. None so famous as this one right there. Can anyone tell me what it's called? Yes, it's the Great Red Spot, that's right. It is currently just bigger than Earth, and it behaves like a hurricane. The center, or the eye of the hurricane, is relatively calm, but further out into the swirling clouds, winds can reach speeds of over 400 miles per hour. But unlike hurricanes here on Earth, which slow down after making landfall, there's no solid surface here on Jupiter to slow a storm down. So they can last for centuries. In the case of the Great Red Spot, we first observed it over 150 years ago, and it's probably been around for even longer. And the Great Red Spot was one of the features studied by NASA's Juno spacecraft, which provided us stunning views of this king of the planets. Those are not paintings, but actual images captured by Juno of clouds and storms in its northern regions. Since 2021, Juno has also expanded its mission scope to look at some of Jupiter's Galilean moons, like Io over on the left, the most volcanically active world in our solar system, or Ganymede down at the bottom. It is the biggest moon in the solar system. It's in fact even bigger than the planet Mercury. Or finally, coming into better view at the top, Europa. It is one of the most promising places in our solar system to find an environment suitable for life outside of Earth. And that's so intriguing that NASA is launching its Europa Clipper mission on October 10th of this year to go study this moon. And those three moons are part of a group of four, known as the Galilean moons. And they're called like that because they were discovered by the Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei in 1610. And that discovery was groundbreaking. Those were the first moons to be discovered beyond our very own moon. I did tell you that there were four, because, well, the fourth one is too far away for Juno to get a good look at it. It's all the way in the back in that blue orbit line, and that's the moon Callisto. But do you think Jupiter only has 4 moons? That's right. It has way more. It has 95 confirmed moons. Yes, 95. And while that is a lot, it actually isn't enough to be considered our king of the moons. That title was stolen by its planetary neighbor, Saturn. And we're going there next. So I could just tell you how many moons Saturn has, but that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. So I'm going to pull out the orbit line, and I'm going to let you count all of those moons. Get ready, get set, start counting. All right, did anyone get a lot? Mm-hmm. Me too. Saturn has 146 confirmed moons. But we're still counting and recounting moons because we're still discovering moons. We're still confirming that they do in fact exist. So it means that maybe Jupiter will one day reclaim its title of King of the Moons. But I think that we will always know Saturn as our local Lord of the Rings. Yeah, the jokes don't get any better from here on, and I'm not sorry. Those rings are pretty expansive. They span 176,000 miles across, but they're pretty thin. They're only about 30 feet thick on average, so from just the right angle, they appear to disappear entirely. That's not the only optical illusion that goes on around Saturn. So you might be thinking, man, if I had a go-kart, I could go racing out here like on Mario Kart Rainbow Road. And while Rainbow Road is a hard track, and maybe I'm just bad at video games, at least it's solid. Those rings are not. They're made up of rocks in sizes ranging from just the size of a pebble to the size of a house. As for what caused those rings, well, we don't know exactly, but we have a few theories. The first one being that a moon got too close to Saturn, past a point we know as the Roche limit. And past that point, it started breaking apart. It was